Hello everyone, Loremaster Sotek here, and man, it has been crazy around here lately. But I'm excited to go ahead and get started on recording some series. I mean, obviously we're going to be doing a fair amount of live streaming, but due to all of the issues that I've been having with my computer, obviously my computer's great now, thanks in part to so many people who have turned out during all the live streams and stuff. I actually have not gotten to play the full, like, Nakai the Wanderer and Marcus Wolfheart campaigns. Which is crazy, because, you know, that's something that I love. Like, I'm really, really excited for. And, ooh, this is fun. But, in any event, I thought the first thing I'd like to start with is the Spirit of the Jungle campaign, because Nakai is one of my favorite characters in the lore. And I have played his campaign, I should say that, but I haven't gotten to play it all the way through. So now's my time to start that, so let's get into it.
The jungle continent of Lustria lies west across the great ocean. The first men to land upon these shores ransacked an ancient temple, filling their ships with golden treasures. Word spread of their wealth, and others were eager to follow. Fueled by greed, men of the Empire ventured deeper into the jungle's heart. The land of beasts, ravaged and plundered for its riches. It will not be without consequence. The jungle stirs. A cold-blooded fury rising to punish the invaders. In the temple cities of Lustria, the lizard men enact a ritual to call upon their mighty guardian. For the Wanderer roams Lustria once more. The spirit of the jungle made manifest. A reckoning has come. Only the strongest will survive the coming bloodshed.
Alright. So we got deep within the impenetrable jungle, something monstrous silently stirs. Lustria is and always has been the domain of the lizardmen, but now the warm bloods encroach upon the sacred land, their plundering presence an affront to the great plan. With a swarm of his faithful kin following in his wake, Nakai instinctively senses a struggle of great importance is coming. It is time for the greed of the civilized to be met with all the savagery of the jungle. And then we're gonna get Nakai's little intro and we'll be off! I will say that I do love how they nailed Nakai's voice. He has such a good voice. And they do a really, really good job with like the dialect of the Croxagors, being that all lizardmen speak a language that's essentially called Saurian, but each type of lizardman speaks the language in a very distinct way. So like when Croxagors speak Saurian, it's like very, very simple, straightforward. They use a very, very simplified version of the language. Alright, so we got mission issued. Nakai, your strength is needed all across Lustria. You cannot become attached to any one location. Leave this region in the care of the defenders of the Great Plan, who will protect it in our stead. Alright, so let's get into it. Start with a lovely Heavens Wizard. Awesome. And we are good to get going. So, I have played the intro to this campaign a fair bit, though, because I, of course, help out other creators and stuff like that with working their way through it. But looking at all of this, I think the first thing we want to do is max out this tree here, which, of course, is the sequences of restoration, essentially. And the reason is that these basically give you the necessities for dealing with a horde situation, which the most important thing for horde factions is upkeep reduction, horde growth, casualty replenishment, and construction costs. If you can get all of those things down as much as possible, you're going to be in a good place. So we're just going to shoot our way all the way up this tree without stopping, because we want that upkeep reduction. But other than that, kind of take a look around at what we've got here. Okay, so let's get into it. For those who are used to my campaign, you'll know that I like to play with... Oh, I'm not going to bother with that. I like to play... I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. I do like to play with mods on, but I keep my mods fairly straightforward. What old one do I want to go with? I think my favorite one is probably Quetzal, so let's go with Quetzal. Alright, mission accomplished. But the mods I'm using for this is I've got the better camera mod, faster intern time camera. I've got the 2 skill points per level for Lords only. So we're going to pick up Route Marcher, and we're going to max out Spawn of Itza as quick as we can. And we will go from there. So, immune to attrition. And we can take... Oh, great. We can camp out even if we've maxed out our movement. Awesome. So, we're going to go ahead and do our best to get this to max rank. Because once you get it to max rank, you get upkeep reduction, campaign movement, recruitment capacity, and horde growth. So, we're going to max that out as quick as we can. Next thing we're going to do is stop the camera. Make it so that allied and neutral factions move as quickly as possible, so I don't have to bother with them. And enemies we will speed up to fastest. Alright. And we want to save these as default. Awesome. Is that from the mod, or was that added to the base game? Whatever, I'll check that later. I hope you're all doing well. Things are going well over here. There's a bunch of stuff that I've been working on really, really hard lately. Once we were pretty much good for release, I decided to take some time to spend some time with friends, because I hadn't had the ability to do that lately. And beyond that, I also wanted to... work on some scripts, so I've been doing that because I've had to restore. Thankfully, I was able to save them, but I had to restore a number of scripts from my PC because on the PC that I was having issues with, the issue that I was having led to the hard drive basically having to be scrapped. So I lost my SSD. Skink freeze. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Which was a huge bummer. But, you know, life goes on, and thankfully, I had a Windows account. I'll actually fight this one just so we can at least get a little bit of campaign action in. Just to have a battle. I'm sure we'll get some battles at some point, but I like to play when I can because I do enjoy the battles quite a bit in this game. And for anyone curious, I'm sure you'll see when you come into this, but we'll be doing the typical system of we'll have an hour-long episode every 5. So episode 1 will be an hour, then 2, 3, 4 will be 30 minutes, and then 5 will be an hour. I think that's what we're going to do. Actually, you know what? I might do that for a later campaign, but I think for Nakai, I might just do hour-long episodes. I don't know. I've always enjoyed being able to just kind of chill and chat with you guys and not have to worry about too short of a time limit. Because I think one issue that I had with some campaigns that I don't know if I'm going to be able to salvage them since the build's been updated. But like, you know, we had the tic-tac-toe campaign, the Albert campaign, all that stuff, which got in pretty far. And they were fun. But I didn't enjoy the 30-minute episodes because it just felt so rushed. Like, by the time I really would get into the groove of things, it felt like I had to stop the episode. So I think we're going to go for hour-long ones with this series when it comes to doing campaign stuff. And I also think I'm going to stick to doing just one campaign at a time instead of, like, a different campaign every day or something like that. That just kind of suits the way I like to work better. I'm sure for some content creators, they're more fond of, you know, just spamming out stuff, but I like to take my time a little bit. So we do have, we are playing with Nakai, so we do have the new color scheme for Nakai's faction, the Spirits of the Jungle, which is kind of like a white and black, which is an awesome color scheme. I actually really, really like this color scheme, and of course it fits really well with Nakai himself. And so far we've only got one of the new units. We've got the Space Marine Kroxigors, as I like to call them, because they've got power fists, or I guess they would be Terminators, not Space Marines. But I really, really like the Sacred Kroxigors. They're probably my favorite of the new units, whereas the we'll talk about some of the other ones. I'm hoping to have out my review of this DLC within a few days, hopefully tomorrow or the day after, because there's a lot worth commenting about, in my opinion. So here we've got the Sacred Kroxigors coming in, and these guys, I don't know if you've seen them fight, but they have amazing animations, because not only do they have really cool attacks, but they use geomancy. They're like geomancy gauntlets. You see, whenever they hit the ground, they cause boulders to come out, or stalactites. Like that, and then they'll make a boulder come out of the ground and punch it into the Skaven, or they'll like slam on the ground in a series of stalactites, or is it stalagmites or stalactites if it comes out of the ground? I know you use different word depending on like where it comes from. Let's bring these guys around here, and then we've got Nakai in here battling against all these annoying Skaven. Let's buff our Sacred Kroxigors. Regular Kroxigors seem to have lost line of sight, I guess, a second ago, so they're kind of wandering around. We've got Skinks coming in on the rear. I love Nakai's charge animation is so ridiculous. Also that body block. But he kind of just like frolics into battle when you get off his big animation, which I find so hilarious. See if we can get these guys to push through. Let's move up the Skink Priest so he's providing leadership at a slightly better angle. But yeah, like, I will say some of the things that definitely catch my attention early on in the campaign, they're less of an issue once we get going. But they are something that kind of bothers me about the early game, is that and I will say also before I get into this that CA has commented that it's going to be one of the major focuses of the next update, which, based on their Reddit Q&A, it seems that CA is aware there are a couple of concerning issues with the game that need to be dealt with. That aren't like, you know, they're not game or world breaking. They're just kind of annoying more than anything else. And the big one for me right now is that a number of characters have magic items programmed in the game, but they aren't available due to just someone somewhere either didn't prioritize it when they were, like, a developer didn't prioritize it, or it, like, the development for this DLC was, like, got so fast and furious at some point that people weren't aware of problems, which I can totally see, because the thing about this DLC is that's worth talking about, is that this DLC was partnered with a colossal free DLC. I mean, the basic, like, they basically reworked the Empire from the ground up, which, you know, I'll be doing a campaign on that, probably a live stream, because that's a very long campaign. So for the longer ones, I'll probably be doing live streams, because then I can go for multiple hours without any issues. But this DLC came with such a massive amount of free DLC that to me it kind of feels like they may have needed one more additional month, and we're just gonna focus Quetzal until we at least get 15 points, maybe more. All right, so we got the Rite of Allegiance unlocked. Let's do 2 more points into Spawn of Itza. Insufficient funds. All regions belonging to the Great Defenders will cause attrition to their enemies. Okay, so this is basically the Rite of Sotek. It just works for his vassal faction instead of himself. I'm not sure if that's supposed to, but I guess it represents like a different thing, because I guess as being Nakai's vassal faction, it represents more of like Nakai's allies like attacking their enemies as they try and come in on their cities. Because one thing you'll notice is that the AI for the defenders is not aggressive. It mainly just has a garrison, and it doesn't really do much. It's just there to protect your territory, which is cool. And it actually does have pretty powerful garrison armies, which the garrison changes depending on which old one you decide to side with, which is also very cool. But it does mean you do need to be careful and apply those rights correctly to make sure that you're, you know, maximizing your defenses, because obviously you get more powerful the more cities you keep up and alive. Anyway, so we got another mission issued. As our influence grows through our followers, we must maintain such a vast horde, we must upgrade our camps. Also, fun fact, you may be wondering how Nakai is a horde that builds a city, and what they basically did is they seem to just be using the lore from the end times, and that Nakai is using one of the flying temple cities from the end times, which I thought was actually a really cool nod. I mean, I know, you know, as a Warhammer fan myself, there are a number of issues I have with the end times. Massive amount of issues. But there were some cool parts too. And one of them being, you know, that if there was enough magic or the lizardmen were driven to a certain extreme, they could unleash temple cities that could drift across the earth and unleash mighty armies and stuff. And the fact that they kind of are running with that, but for Nakai, works really, really well to explain how he's able to have like an army. You know, if he has like spawning pools in this floating temple city. Okay. Let's keep moving. So this is where we're going to head into our first kind of dangerous territory, the City of Waddell, because Waddell, excuse me, is a little bit of a dangerous spot just because it is a city with walls, and it tends to actually be where the Skaven build up their armies, the Skaven faction that we're attacking right now. So you can they can catch you off guard just because you can't see them. One thing I will note about Nakai's campaign, if you're playing it and you're wondering like what should be your priorities and stuff, is although you do want to kill the Skaven, It's worth noting that because of the way Nakai's campaign works, in that he kind of defends territory, he takes territory, and yeah, see, there's just like a buttload of Skaven. Don't think we have the numbers to beat these guys if they come at us in an all-out fight. So what we're gonna do is basically back away enough to go into ambush stance, which, you know, having an ambushing horde is awesome. And we're gonna try and lure the Skaven out enough that we can snipe them out, essentially. So we're just gonna hide right here. Hopefully lure out Clan Mange, who's of course a subsidiary clan, you could say, of Clan Pestilence. But hopefully they'll either leave or we can draw them away from their walls enough to mess them up. We could attack this Lord. Alright, so we did get our first tech. Search a ruined settlement for treasure. Okay. We'll probably want to use a hero to accomplish that mission. You have to find a settlement that's already been ruined, because Nakai cannot raise settlements, he can only possess them. Alright, so we got +2 horde growth. Nice, nice. See, if we attack this guy, this might work in our favor, because what it'll do is it'll force Nostradamus, which is such a goofy name, but you know, it is what it is. It'll force him to reinforce from behind us. Yeah, see, without walls, it's a much more straightforward fight. This will force him to come out from behind us, which will give us the ability to pretty much wipe him out as soon as he appears. But I think for the sake of taking advantage of the situation, we're going to auto-resolve this, because if we fight it, that's going to lead to Nostradamus being, like, we'll beat him, but he'll be able to fall back to the garrison and get, like, still have a notable army. Whereas if we auto-resolve it, we'll lose a lot of troops, which is no big deal, but we'll also kill everything, so we can just take the city for free. So we'll do this. Let's exterminate for the experience bonus. And we got the Amulet of Itzel, which is a big ward save buff in a desperate situation. We leveled up. So let's go ahead and pick up... I really do like ambushing, but also getting cheaper troops when playing as a horde. Yeah, let's go ahead and get Bonded Service, which will make troops cheaper to get, which is very important as a horde, because with hordes you tend to lose a lot of troops and have to constantly be getting new ones. We've already got a point in scouting. Let's pick up a point in harmonic convergence, and then let's attack the city, which has no garrison because we killed them all. So we'll do a gift for Quetzal. And now we own our first full province. Oh, we got Artifact Hunter, nice. And we wiped out Clan Mange, so that's a massive opponent taken out of the mix. And we can go ahead and move over this way, because I think what we're going to do is sweep up this coastline to grab these settlements, because I don't believe anybody owns them. I think they are true ruins, so to speak. And then let's save our... how are we doing on growth? I need 2 more turns for this thing, but it costs 8,000 gold. So let's save our money for the moment so that we can try and max out our horde as quickly as possible. Well, okay, I can't put the prized hunter on Nakai, but I can put it on this guy. So that increases our chance of finding magic items, which is always a big thing. I think one of the most annoying parts of this game a lot of the time is that there's not a good guaranteed way to acquire magic items. Like, you can't, unless you're playing Dwarves or Tomb Kings, you can't forge them, which of course is a massive bonus to those 2 factions. But it can be really bummer. There we go. When you're trying to build up. Sign a non-aggression with the Southern Sentinels. I don't think I have contact with them yet. I do not. So we might send our priest to go do that. So let's, just because, you know, if we can accomplish some quests. So they're right here. So we're going to send him to go ahead and do that, while I move north to take these abandoned settlements. And I don't have... Oh, I do have a march stance. Okay, that's good. Yeah, let's go ahead and march. And we'll have the ability to get a even bigger thing next turn. Oh, right. These don't require money. They so the ones where you influence your ally require the favor of the old ones, which you get by taking settlements and stuff like that. Yeah, you get it from establishing temples, winning missions, and then for every settlement you own, you generate a certain amount of favor of the old ones. Hey, it's Gorok. What's up, man? Together we can achieve much? I agree. How about you pay me, though, for that? Okay. We do want to help out the other Lisbon factions if we can get away with it, just because, you know, they are our big allies. Unfortunately, I will say that Nakai's campaign, because of the vassal state, seems unfortunately limited due to the diplomacy system. I know, oh, yeah, I'll take a free Scarvet. You kidding? Alright, so... that costs too much money. We'll go ahead and do it. It gives them some experience. Okay, so we got this puzzle, which this puzzle is actually easier to solve than I used to think it was. Because one thing I didn't realize about this puzzle is that it remains... the question mark remains consistent based on the direction, like the shapes are pointing. So for instance, we know that if the arrow's pointing to the right, then this symbol will be below it. So that means if it's pointing to the left, this symbol will be above it, which is this one. So boop, we got it. Banner of Swiftness. Awesome. So we can get faster units. And then we can... I don't think we can gift this in the same turn that we search it. Oh, we can! Well, that's cool. Most armies can't do that. So we'll gift it to Quetzal. Which, that put us at... how are we at 6? 1, 2, 3, 4? I wonder if... taking like an entire province gives you a bonus. Interesting. We'll have to experiment with that. So, okay, but hey, that's fine with me. So that means our Skink Source and Temple Guard have unlocked their first buff. We'll get this Scarvet to start training our troops. I can do this now, and we can get a level 4 Prime Ziggurat, which will lower our overhead costs, so to speak. And we're going to send this little dude to explore some more. And we're going to go grab the Wellsprings of Eternity. And then we're probably going to deal with these Dark Elves. Just because I find with Nakai that if you can, like, quickly attack a faction and wipe them out before they either become a threat or, you know, expand or do anything you don't want them to do, it helps out just because you want to have as much territory as possible. And we are going to save our Favor of the Old Ones a fair amount. Try not to use it unless we absolutely need to. So for instance, we've unlocked this ability, which allows us to recruit a Source Scarvet and also gives them a bonus rank, which is great. But I want to save my Favor for stuff that I like absolutely need. So let's go ahead and march to the Wellsprings of Eternity. We still have not made contact with these guys yet. Let's go ahead and search this settlement. If it's abandoned, then we have a chance for treasure. If not, then we just kind of know where an enemy is. Oh, good. Okay, so it's a Cipher. This one, okay, we have a lot to work with. Hopefully it gives us the crucial piece of information we need to work with. So, that's unfortunate. Okay, so we know this one has to be a 4. If this one has to be a 4, then this one has to be a 1, because there's already a 2 here. So if this has to be a 1, then this has to be a 2. So we know it's a 2. Now the question is if it's red or blue. And this kind of becomes a pain in the butt, because they put all the reds and blues kind of in the same space. So there's no real way to determine that. Well, not necessarily. Because what we can do is we know okay, so we know this has to be yellow. So if this has to be yellow, this has to be purple. See, so it's gonna be a crapshoot. It could be red or blue, because the thing I hate about this puzzle is they really should design it where if you do the thought puzzle, it should be like 100% possible to determine what it is if you just take a minute. But one thing they do that's super shitty sometimes is they'll put the two alternate colors on the complete opposite side, so that legitimately makes it impossible to determine which color this is. Because the only way you can determine what color is missing is if you can, fill in the blanks. But here, either one of these could be red or blue, and it won't make a difference because these are yellow and purple. So this is probably my least favorite version of this, because it's super shitty of them to do. Because it's just a guess. So I know it's a 2, but I can't narrow it down any more than that. So I guess we'll go with red. Nice, we got it. Ooh, Plaque of Dominion. That's a super good item. Awesome. Alright, and we have found them. Awesome. We got our non-aggression, so that'll give us bonus money, which is all I really care about. We're going to give this guy Wind Blast, which is one of the best spells in the game, especially for a low-level character. And can you put on the Plaque? Oh, no. Plaque of Dominion is an arcane item. So we will give it to you. Which is funny, because the Plaque of Dominion is a character that I think the Old Blood or the Scar Veteran, I think one of them has it in multiplayer. Which is really funny because it's impossible to do that in single player. I always found that kind of humorous. But we're doing we're doing well so far. We're almost to the greenskin territory. I don't want to fight them until I have a 20 stack, because I find that the Savage Orc faction is very, very well designed in Lustria to be a dangerous opponent. Okay, so let's check if this has a treasure. It does, so let's search the ruins. Awesome. Got another puzzle that should be relatively easy. Okay, it's on the back of the tongue, so it's the square. Nice, Scroll of Amber. Not my favorite, but, money. And then we can get for Quetzal. Nice. Alright, awesome. So that puts us at 7 temples, I believe. Yep. Okay, so it looks like you definitely get a bonus for when you take a full province, which is cool. That makes sense. I like that. Alright, and then we need how much money for this? We need 10,000, which we're pretty much at. But we need 5 growth. So we can afford to go ahead and pick up some troops. So let's pick up like 2 more units of Croxagors, maybe, and maybe like 2 units of Saurus. Will that leave us 10k? But okay, let's maybe shave off the Saurus. We don't want to go too crazy with it yet. And we want to tell the Skink Priest to make his way back to the Horde. And I think we'll hit the Isle of the Crimson Skull first, because it's a much easier target. But actually, we'll probably swing down and meet our Skink Priest at Quitax. That way we can take another settlement. And once we control Quitax, we will be able to wrap back around, kill off the Dark Elves. After we kill off the Dark Elves, maybe we'll hit Teclis. No. Sorry, bro, I'm not going to give you money to just exist. And here we can see that the dwarves are starting a lot of fights with the lizardmen, so obviously we do want to wipe them out when we get the chance. This will give us more Winds of Magic, but it costs us 1,000 gold. I mean, we could afford it, but it only lasts for 10 turns. We'll pass. Normally, I always take that one, but for right now, we'll pass. The World Root Rangers. Okay, I don't know where they are, but we'll keep that in mind. Okay, this gives us a bonus to Croc score units. Let's send you to Quitax. We'll meet you there. I'm going to pop March Stance, and we're going to head that way as well. And we'll keep an eye out for the Worldwood Rangers. I think generally they spawn in this ballpark, but we will keep an eye out for them. Because obviously we want to accomplish as many missions as we can, because that just gives us loads of money. Granted, free money anyway. I don't think missions are as important in the Vortex campaign as they are in Mortal Empires, because in Mortal Empires you have the chapter system, which is, you know, it's a system that lets you play through a storyline. I don't think most people pay attention to it, but I think it's a really fun challenge to make the Mortal Empires campaign a little bit more narratively interesting. Whoa, slow down, slow down. Okay, we found him. That's good. A little earlier than I would have liked, but we can, once we get our Skink Priest, we can take these guys out. I say that, but their army's kind of scary. We will... Hey, everyone! So, as you may have noticed, because of kind of the sudden change of my voice, perhaps, this is actually a replay of this battle, because when I was frantically smashing all over my keyboard trying to fight this fight, I accidentally turned off my recording software. So this was a ridiculous battle, but I didn't just not want to show it because I felt that it was a really, really good fight. So to explain the situation, even though you'll be seeing this as if I hadn't turned it off, basically, I knew these Wood Elves were somewhere in my empire, but I didn't know where they were because of the reduced line of sight for playing on hard difficulty, and I'm on hard campaign mode and hard battle difficulty. So unfortunately, these Wood Elves kind of managed to sneak up on me, so I was in march stance, and I had a smaller army than the Wood Elves did. So because I was in march stance, I was starting off the battle tired. So what I decided to do deployment-wise is I basically just parked my butt on this hill and waited for the Wood Elves to come to me. On top of that, the only thing I was really able to do once I realized that I had walked right up to the Wood Elves, and I knew that I had a smaller army than them, and my vassal is also super duper weak, so there was like a 9 to 90% chance they were going to declare war on my vassal and attack me, which is exactly what happened. And if I lose this battle, I will lose the Nakai campaign. So I have to win this. So the only thing I have going for me at this point is that I did manage to get a free Scar Veteran, and lucky for me, he does have the trait that gives him poisoned attacks, as you can see here on his card. So that does make him much more useful than he would normally be, even though normally he will be quite useful. But on top of that, I did perform the rite that buffs Croxagors. I forget what it is off the top of my head, but it basically gives them, I believe, 20 armor, 20 additional armor, and like 25% additional weapon strength, I think. So they're all rocking 120 armor, and they're all rocking much higher weapon damage than they normally would be, which you can tell by the stuff marked in green. But in any event, so that's all I've got going for me. So basically, the hope here is that I can take out the Glade Riders very, very quickly with Javelin Skinks, because thankfully the AI is a little too aggressive with its like flank Vanguard units. So here you can see they're already coming in. It looks like, are they wielding poison arrows? No, they've got regular arrows. Okay. And then these ones have normal arrows, and these ones have Starfire shafts. Okay. So already my Skinks are eating a ton of damage, but they're giving it right back. And of course, Glade Guard don't have shields, and they don't have armor, so they get wiped out super easily by concentrated missile fire like Javelin Skinks. The AI, of course, is being led by an Ancient Tree Lord, which is probably one of the most terrifying characters to go up against if you're not prepared to deal with it. And of course, I don't have really any anti-large outside of my Scarvet, so yeah. And plus, all these guys are fresh, which is a bummer. So the Skinks do manage to break these Glade Riders, which is good. You know, they're falling back. So now what I need to do is get off some really effective charges and make sure that I get the archers as quickly as possible. So here I'm going to be sending the Sacred Croxgors, who of course do magic damage, into these Dryads along with support from the Skinks, so the Sacred Croxgors will rip these guys in half no problem. And I've got all of the main Croxgors battling against the Wildwood Rangers, and then the backup Croxgors are now going to be charging in against the Dryads, and of course trying to fight their way to the archer units. So here you can see this unit is going to be plowing on through and slamming right into them, forcing them back, which means they're not going to be shooting, while this Ancient Tree Lord is just spamming magic. I've already seen an Awakening of the Wood that did a devastating amount of damage to my Skinks and some other stuff. So at this point, thanks to Nakai and getting off a very, very good charge with their anti-infantry, we are doing really, really well against the Wildwood Rangers. The Eternal Guard have swarmed my left flank, which is going well for them. Nakai is over here fighting against the Glade Riders. That'll be an easy fight in his favor. And then over here is kind of a mess. I do have a couple Crocscores who are battling against the Archers, but they're not as deep in as I would like them to be. And over here you can see that the Skinks are just being torn apart by Dryads. So what I do here is I'm trying to prevent them from blobbing, because it's going to make the AI better at using its healing spells. So whenever the Waddell's manage to blob up, what I'm basically going to do is force my units apart and then charge them back in to try and unify their presence. So here I've got the matchup that I want, which is the Sacred Crocscores against the Dryads, who will be ripped apart since their physical resistance is being negated by the magic damage. And then I've got regular Crocscores battling against Eternal Guard, which, thanks to their anti-infantry bonus, this is basically a fair fight. The Eternal Guard, of course, do have anti-large and armor piercing, so they will hurt the Crocscores quite a bit, but the Crocscores are just as good at killing them as they are at killing the Crocscores. Meanwhile, down here, thanks to Nakai and the Crocscores, we have managed to force back the Archers, but of course these Crocscores are taking a lot of damage for their trouble. We did break off the first unit of Wildwood Rangers, so these Crocscores are pursuing there, and here you can see I noticed that I was losing this situation, so the Crocscores all scattered, and then I get in a charge against the Wildwood Rangers here, with these Crocscores who are fleeing from the Eternal Guard, and I turn these Crocscores around to get another rear charge into these Wildwood Rangers. Meanwhile, these Eternal Guard, they do brace in time, but it didn't help them that much. those Sacred Crocscores have a devastating charge, thanks to that, those flying WWE, elbow drops they do in the combat. But we did get a rear charge into these Wildwood Rangers, so we are tearing them up in this combat. But unfortunately, they are being reinforced by the Ancient Tree Man, who is more than capable of curb stomping a unit of Crocscores. He is designed to deal with Crocscores with his expert charge defense and very, very high armor, physical resistance, and all sorts of nastiness. So at this point, my Crocscores all start immediately falling back when I realize that I'm dealing with an ideal matchup against me, which is the doubled up Eternal Guard supported by the Ancient Tree Man. So we fall back. Skinks are chasing off the Broken Wildwood Rangers. I've got Crocscores coming in to help support them. And I've got my Scarvet chasing off some Glade Riders. And Nakai is single-handedly doing everything in his power over here to deal with these units. I did have a unit rally, and they rallied enraged. So they charged right back into the Glade Guard, which is exactly where I wanted them. So that was perfect. And Nakai, of course, is more than capable of dealing with all these dang units. So now all I have to do is make sure these Archers and Dryads are chased off the field. Scarvet's going to try and chase off the Glade Guard. These Crocscores are battling the Glade Riders, while over here I'm basically just doing everything in my power to cycle charge. So the Crocscores here got a nice charge into the Wildwood Rangers, forcing them back. Sacred Crocscores got a really good charge into the Eternal Guard, but unfortunately the Ancient Tree Man gets involved, so I immediately start falling back. Because the only downside to the Ancient Tree Man is that he's slow. So I immediately just start running away, because I would rather take a bunch of damage getting poked in the butt by Eternal Guard than fighting this guy. So now I'm separating my units into different ballparks. Nakai is heading back to reorganize with my army as well. And here, unfortunately, because I'm trying to micro many different places, the Eternal Guard do get a charge, but by now I've noticed and start trying to fall them back towards Nakai so I can kind of reorganize my army. The Archers over here do rally, but they are walking through the Scarvet, so he's basically going to be getting off the occasional attack, killing 2 or 3 of them each time. Over here, the Glade Guard are finally starting to break. And here, I did charge in these Crocscores around the side to get into the Eternal Guard that this guy is defending. And you'll notice that I'm being chased by Eternal Guard all the way up here, which is fine. I just want to stay away from them. And now the Sacred Crocscore are coming in on the rear of these Eternal Guard. And they're just going to slam into them to try and shatter them. At this point, the Tree Man is isolated, but I can't afford to fight him unless he's completely by himself. So all the Crocscores charge in and are doing as much damage as they possibly can. I run in and pop Primal Roar for the melee attack buff. Unfortunately, that 22% physical resistance doesn't help me because this guy does magic damage. So he completely ignores Nakai's defensive buffs. So all my Crocscores are still taking max damage from this. And because they're rampaging, I'm a little worried that they're about to get rear charged on both sides by Eternal Guard. but you'll see that I kind of immediately start sending all my croc scores in different directions because this is not ideal. So Nakai kind of slams his way through the Eternal Guard, and the croc scores start splitting up like it's a Scooby-Doo movie. These ones do body slam these guys, shattering them instantly, and now all the croc scores start heading for the various hills to get away and try and lure out the Eternal Guard. So I see the Eternal Guard are chasing this unit. I immediately are going to countercharge them from both sides in a croc score sandwich, which is just perfect. And you'll see that the Eternal Guard, the amount of damage they're taking from being completely surrounded is pretty ludicrous. I mean, they're losing about 100 to 200 health every couple hits. So thankfully that does manage to hurt their leadership really bad since they're being attacked in almost every direction, and they're going to break here in just a few seconds. I did notice that unfortunately my croc scores over here got distracted somehow, and like both of these units managed to rally and chase them off, and this dang ancient tree man just keeps healing with his damn like life bloom and not regrowth but earth blood. So once I break the Eternal Guard, I fully commit my croc scores to chasing them off because I need them to shatter. I can't afford to have spearmen of all things involved. But because I do have this unit being supported by cold-blooded, despite their heavy damage and high losses, they are going to manage to get a nice sexy charge into these Glade Guard, pulping organs, decapitating people, especially when supported by all these other guys. So that shouldn't be an issue. I do have my weakest unit of croc scores, who only have 400 health left, committed to chasing off the Eternal Guard. My skinks at this point have, I believe, been shattered. They're still alive, but they got shattered and run off. So at this point, I just decide, you know what, let's fully commit to chasing off all of these annoying units. That way they can't support the Ancient Tree Man. Because if I can get the Ancient Tree Man by himself, I can circle beat him. But I don't want to risk that while there is any infantry that can possibly support him. So at this point, we'll just fast forward, because basically at this point it's just me chasing off units. Like here, these guys run out of ammo. These guys try and get back to the main fight, but unfortunately they try and run through the Scarvet instead of around him. So he does manage to shatter them, take them out. Here we shatter the Dryad, so now I've just got to chase the Glade Guard to make sure they leave. That Ancient Tree Man, of course, is still hot on our trail. And unfortunately, even though he's a monster, he does have the Forest Spirit ability, or trait. And he's a Wood Elf, obviously, or a Wood Elf unit. So if I try and fight him in the forest, he would actually get a massive amount of buffs, while I would get a massive amount of debuffs. So once the Glade Guard are gone, I decide, you know what, best thing to do is just run away. So all the croc scores, we're just gonna book it like there's no tomorrow. So we're gonna run away from the Ancient Tree Man and try and get him over to where the Scarvet is, isolate him to where maybe I can get a high ground charge down at him and get him away from the forest. And of course he is now starting to heal himself with what little magic he can produce left, so we just book it. And at this point the AI actually just stopped moving, which is kind of smart in the AI's position because he's not going to be able to catch me, and it does allow him to start recovering his vigor. So right now he's very tired, and you'll notice he heals up way past that. So here, I just keep having these 3 croc scores chase off these Eternal Guard, and they manage to pretty much wipe out the entire unit. I think there's 1 guy left, so that unit's done. And they did funny enough, they did break after they won the fight, but because they weren't chasing an enemy unit, which can give them a brief leadership buff, but their leadership is hovering just high enough where they managed to hang in there. So I do send the Scarvet over to pop Cold-Blooded on them to give them a little bit more, to, you know, let them at least hold the line. And they head back to my army. And now this is all that's left. We're 19 minutes into this battle, which if I lose this, once again I lose the campaign, which would really, really suck and be a colossal waste of time. So I do rally what forces I have left and prepare to face off against the Tree Man. Which, unfortunately, I mean, because of this guy's defenses, I have fought in campaign and in some, like, custom battle stuff that the Ancient Tree Man can kick the crap out of Nakai. Just because a lot of the defense... Because ultimately, where Nakai can buff himself with physical resistance to try and turn the tide, it doesn't matter, because this guy does magic damage. Whereas Nakai only does regular damage, so the Tree Man's... physical resistance actually allows him to defeat Nakai in a one-on-one fight. Plus, Nakai is not immune to psychology. So if you're fighting with Nakai against an ancient tree man, like I am with this little force here, none of these guys cause terror, and none of them are immune to psychology. So if this thing gets us low enough, it can absolutely terror bomb us and cause basically all of my units to just run for the hills. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get my guys up to just being tired instead of very tired. But even though I let them sit there for a good couple of minutes, like probably 3 or 4 minutes, they just got up to very tired. Meanwhile, this dude's at fresh. So, so basically, the only thing we can do at this point is we have to get a full surround on him. I have to get the Scarvet in on him because the Scarvet obviously has poison, so it reduce a lot of the tree man's stats by 20%, and that's going to be the only way we beat this guy. So this is what essentially goes down at the end, is that Nakai is going to charge in, hit this dude, be supported by the Scarvet. I've got my units attacking from multiple angles. I pop cold-blooded on these guys to give them the leadership they'll need to stand against them. Sacred Crocscores charge in, and they're going to be helpful. Of course, they have magic damage, so they can ignore this thing's physical resistance. These guys also come in and slam into the dude's rear and flanks, and we're just hammering him with everything we've got magic-wise. And he does actually nearly kill the Scarvet, but thanks to the full surround and the tons of damage this dude is taking, he's lost about 3,000 health over the last about 30 to 40 seconds due to the full surround. We do manage to break and shatter him, and since he's broken and shattered, it's no big deal to basically pursue him and slowly but surely strip his 2,000 health down to about 400, because for some reason the regular Crocscores are faster. Wait, I don't know if they're actually faster. Hold on, let me check. These guys are speed 46. These guys are also speed 46. So for whatever reason, you'll notice that the regular Crocscores... Oh, it's because... Nope. Even though these guys are very tired, and the Sacred Crocscores are also very tired, the regular Crocscores actually keep up with the Tree Lord. Whereas the Sacred Crocscores, you'll notice, the Sacred Crocscores and Nakai aren't able to catch him. Even though they are notably faster than him. Because he's speed 35, they're speed 46. They almost catch him, but he ends up getting away. But we do, you'll see, of course, what happens to him in a moment. But just wanted to give you guys that. So, hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of the Nakai campaign. See you tomorrow. Alright, so I realized as I was wrapping up the battle against these Wood Elves that I had accidentally somehow hit the hotkey that turns off my recording software, which I don't know how I did that, but I did. And so the battle will be in the video that you guys see, but it'll be a replay instead of it being live. But I will say this was super stressful. It probably won't come across when... I don't know if it'll come across when I'm talking about it in the, like, afterwards. But, dear Lord, that was a hard fight that I was not at all ready for. And that really plays into one of the things that has changed about this in the most recent patch, was that they made it so you have less line of sight when you're playing. Which, dear God, makes situations like that 6 million times scarier. Because if I had had the old school line of sight, I would have seen those Wood Elves and would not have just walked into them like I just did. And that nearly ended the game for me. If I didn't have the right that had buffed my Crocscores, I would have lost. So, pretty spooky. But in any event, let's keep moving. So we've got the Cipher of the Old Ones. Okay, this one I think I could solve without having to guess. So it's either... Okay, so this can't be red. So, okay, so this is a red 2. And this is a... I do enjoy these puzzles. Except for the one where you have to, like, move the lines. That one sucks. So, drawing on a napkin here, I've got red 2, yellow 4, blue 3, and purple 1. So if that's the case, then let's hop down to here. This is red 3, so this can't be a 3. This can't... Oh, I already have 3. Duh. So I'm smart. Boop. And boop. Okay, so if this is red 3 and this is purple 1, then that means this has to be yellow, and it has to be yellow 2. And this then has to be blue 4. Good old Sudoku. And then if this is red 1 and this is purple... Wait, no. What? Oh, no. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, this is purple. Stupid. Okay, so wait. No. So it's yellow 4 is here. No, blue 4 is here. Blue 4 is there. And then yellow is there. Okay, there we go. That's what I messed up. Alright, so this is red, purple, 3. So then I'm missing 4 and 2. If this is 2, so if this is a 2, this has to be a 4. And if this is... So this has to be a 2. Which means that this must be a 4. So this is a 4. Then it's either purple or yellow. So for yellows... I need to figure out what the color of these two corners is. I've got red and purple. Which is unfortunate, because I know where all the reds and purples are. I don't know where any of the blues are, though. Well, I've got blue 3 here and blue 4, which means either one of these could be blue. And either one of them could be yellow, because I've got yellow here and yellow here. Shoot. Oh, it's purple. It's purple, because I've got a purple here, but no purple here. So it has to be purple 4. Oh, no, it was yellow 4. How is it yellow 4? If that's yellow... But I had that as yellow 2. Wait, what? That can't be right. Was it not a 4? Is that what it was? It was a 2 instead? Oh, yep, it was a 2. Ah, dang it. Yep, it was purple, but it was purple 2. Oh well, life goes on. All right. So, continuing our move. We already moved him. Let's throw another point in scouting. And we'll finish off this big jerk who... I mean, hopefully that was an enjoyable fight to watch, because it was stressful as hell to play. Alright, there are the orcs. We want to avoid them for now. We'll mosey our way down here. And let's put a point in Lightning Strike, and then a point in Geomantic Sustenance to make our army cheaper. And then let's get a rank 5 main building. Beautiful, just like that. Unfortunately, because I kind of stopped the recording earlier on accident, and that battle, I think, lasted for like 15 minutes, I'm going to have to ballpark when to end this episode, but that's okay. I'm sure no one will be upset if it goes a little longer than I intended. Whew. Well, that was certainly... Oh, shit. Alright, well, we're at war with the orcs now. Because, once again, once you bump into them, they'll declare war on your vassals almost immediately. Alright, so what we're going to do is move most of the way down here. And then we're going to have our Skink Priest join. And the reason we're doing it in that order is because characters in your army do get experience when you take a new settlement. So it's worth it for the little tiny bits you get. Alright, and then can I give... Oh, you already have Artifact Hunter. Can I give you Artifact Hunter? No, it has to go on a Skink Priest. That's a bummer. Alright. Okay. So that's better. Now what I want is I want to get the old one Monument, because our goal here is ultimately to try and nuke our upkeep reduction as high as we possibly can. Okay, now we're going to war with Clan Pestilence. So we're trying to cap out our upkeep reduction, because if we can manage that, then we'll be in a fairly good position for dealing with our enemies. Alright, so we're at war with Clan Pestilence, the Orcs, and the humans. Humans have not made a move against us yet. The Orcs are going to make a move against us soon. I think the next best thing we could do is make our way towards Waddell. That way we kind of have like a good place to make a stand. And we do want to recruit... I guess we'll save our money for the moment, but we do need to be very careful. We're kind of in a very high danger zone scenario at the moment. Well, that's good. I think Clan Pestilence owned that a second ago, so I'm glad that the Lizardmen are continuing to expand. I'm very worried about the Orcs. Like, we're going to need so many more troops than we have to deal with them effectively. Don't care about that. Attrition's not really a big deal for us. Alright, cheaper buildings and better horde growth. Awesome. We could put a point... Let's see. This guy's issue, in my opinion, is that he doesn't hit as often. The lucky thing is we did get a poisonous one, which is awesome. That's such a good trait. So let's grab that, and then let's run over to here. Because this will kind of give us a point, a good branch position. That way, if we do get attacked, we have the garrison to help us. Because the garrison is quite powerful. I really want the Rite of Rebirth. This one's the really important one, because it lets you get troops to help defend. Alright, and next turn we can pick up the Old One Monument. That's not what I wanted. Alright, there we go. Anything else I need to do this turn? No, I think we're okay. And of course, at this point, we're just, you know, healing our troops and getting them back to optimal positions. We do, of course, want to kill the Orcs, because the super important thing about wiping out the Savage Orcs, and why I think they tend to be such a nasty faction, is that they defend the most critical location in all of Lustria. Non-aggression with the dwarves who... Oh, they are at war with Clan Pestilence, and all of the other Lizardmen bros that I really, really love that they hate are dead. So... At least for now, I'm willing to trade with the dwarves, just to not have them as an enemy. We'll see how long that lasts for, but... Alright, let's send our Scar Veteran to scout out the Orcs. And on top of that, he can, of course, start attacking the garrison to weaken their position. But he'll kind of allow us to get an eye on what we're dealing with. Yeah, let's grab Old One Monument to get further casualty replenishment and upkeep reduction. Okay, that's not worth performing right now. We're going to watch carefully from here. We'll probably start by sending him a little further north to... Because we want to kind of figure out exactly where the Savage Orc army is. Once we know where the Savage Orc's actual forces are, we can kind of make our plans. Final Supper, that's going to hurt our Winds of Magic for a few turns. Let's go ahead and march. Somebody leveled up. The Skink Priest did. Awesome. Let's grab Curse of the Midnight Wind. Really solid AoE. This requires money that I'll have next turn. So okay, so there they are. Griebit's Bootlicka. Okay, so he is who we want to start hammering on if we can. Okay, let's demand some money here. Awesome. And let's make our way towards their settlement very carefully. We'll ambush stance this turn, because we do want to try and stay hidden until we're on top of them. Because obviously we don't want to hit Tlonksla unless we know for a fact that we can fall back successfully. Because if we hit them and they come after us, bad things will happen. Okay, they want to extort us, but we're not going to listen to that. I will say I do enjoy this campaign. It's a very nerve-wracking campaign, especially due to the line of sight stuff. Okay, so what is our casualty replenishment at right now? Does it show up? Oh yeah, okay, there it is. Campaign effects. Oh, he only has 3%. What's the city at? 15. That's 20%. This will get us to 25%. Okay. Awesome. And we're going to have him just kind of start tearing them up. Let's make him more successful at it. Or at least do more damage. Oh boy, that's a very big human army. So we need to be cautious of them as well. Teclis is going to war with the Blessed Dread and Clan Pestilence. It's fine. Those are factions we don't like. Teclis is someone that if you can make him into an ally, it's totally worth it. But the odds of making him into your ally are unfortunately not that great. Because he tends to side with the Hunts Marshal's expedition at a faster. So, alright, so let's move further up towards Tlanxla. Let's basically get right on its border. And we'll go into ambush again, so that maybe we can hit the city and run away. Awesome. And we're just going to have this guy keep assaulting them. And the reason we're doing that is because we're trying to do as much damage as we can to the army. Because if we can get the army down a sizable amount, then if a nasty situation pops up where I do have to fight the legions of the Savage Orcs, you know, we actually stand a good chance. Excuse me. Oh, he owns the Temple of Kara too? Ew. I wonder if there's an army there. Alright, so we're going to hit Tlanxla, which... Ooh, I cannot beat that with this army. There's too many, too much anti-large on that. Okay, so now we need to actually get an army. Because this is going to take forever to afford. So let's go ahead. God, I need 6 population for the skink building, which is what I really want. Actually, how much is it for the Saurus upgrade? 38? Okay, we can afford that next turn, even if we do this. I failed, that's unfortunate. So we're just going to hide. And we'll get the Saurus building next turn. That way we can basically start spamming out Saurus with like swords and spears, which will give us what we really need, which is a way to deal with just like mass anti-large infantry. Because when we fought the elves, of course, one of our main issues, well, beyond our big issue of not having enough mobile troops, which is we need skinks for. How long does this last for? 8 turns, but plus 10 leadership. Yeah, I'll take that actually. Because we're gonna be avoiding combat when we can. Plus, all my Quetzal's Grace right now is for skinks, not Crocsgors. So we can take a defensive stance, grab a restored spawning chamber, and let's have our Scarvet head back south. Cool beans. Unfortunately, we're not making as much money as I would like from my vassal states, which I mean clearly shows that we just need to expand more, but it does have us in a rather unfortunate position. Yeah, because I mean that's 500, 500, 500, 500. Yeah, they all just give 500, which is not that bad, but it's not great either. Alright, so here we'll put our last 2 points in Geomantic Assistance, which of course will help make our army even more price efficient. We're almost to the point where we really want to be price-wise. And then I can get 1 unit of Saurus before I'm out. Let's go ahead and damage... we're not going to damage the garrison, actually, I think. We're just going to leave this guy out as a scout for the moment. Because we need Nakai to recruit... we're probably going to need, I'd probably say like 6 units of Saurus. And hopefully our growth gets us to the point where we can get the skink building, because we need skinks really, really badly. Because skinks just provide... Skinks combo with Kroxigors so efficiently that it's kind of amazing. Lethal etiquette. Oh, plus 10% success chance. Alright, can I get the skink building? I can. Awesome. Let's go ahead and grab that. And that's going to leave us with no money, but that's okay. Life goes on. Thankfully, the orcs are still... It looks to me like the orcs are probably... if I recall correctly, in Nakai's campaign, some of the Hunts Marshal's expedition is up here. So I'm guessing that's what the orcs are probably dealing with. But that's fine with me. You know, that buys us crucial time. Because whenever you're playing a horde game, time is so important. You know, you just gotta hang in there until you've got the buildings you need to really take over. Oh gosh. Wow, I've never done this before. I always pick Hold to Your Vision for the increased research rate, but I think this time I actually want the cheaper replenishment. And thankfully our scout's there, so we know we need to fall back. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna fall back here. And camp, and let's pick up... Oh wow, that's so much cheaper. And then let me get a skink cohort. And this guy is going to come stand on this side and just kind of keep an eye on things for us. So that's great. That has us with our... we've now got enough infantry coming through that our Kroxigors will have something to hide behind. Because, of course, the ideal thing to do with monstrous infantry, and monsters in general, but especially monstrous infantry, who tend to be very slow attackers, is that you want to have a regular infantry unit charge in ahead of them, and then have them immediately followed up. Oh, see, there's the Hunts Marshal's expedition, floating pyramid. Alright, I want you to keep an eye on things. We're going to sneak back forward. And recruit even more troops to try and get us on a 20 stack. Which will provide us with a lot of important benefits, but it'll also allow us to start recruiting Slon if we... when and if we want those. So let's pick up... we need more Spearsaurus and more skink with javelins. That's kind of the big thing we need. That leaves us as 6 gold. Alright, and I think what we'll do is take Flanksla, and once that fight is over, we'll need to call this episode, just because, due to the fact when I accidentally turned off my own recording, I am not exactly sure where I'm at time-wise. Oh, dang it. That is not what I wanted. Maybe if we stealth, we can trick them. Oh, skink leveled up. Awesome. Give me another point. Man, this one's... let's do another point in Wind Blast. And there's Chloe. I can see her heading towards me. Okay, these are regular Savage Orcs, so they're actually not that dangerous. The issue, though, is that we're dealing with 15 plus a Shaman plus... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 13. So that's 28 units effectively. And I'm at 18. So they would have 10 more units worth of orcs than us. I don't think I want to take that fight. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to stealth. And we're going to send the Scarvet down here to assault this army. And fail, unfortunately. Yeah, let's get a cold one. That'll actually make it so that when he joins my army, he can keep up with my Kroxigors. Which is good, because he's my fastest answer to anti-cav right now. Alright. Let's see here. Hey, Chloe. There we go. Sword of Cain's doing all sorts of nasty stuff. See if I can get in another attack. Awesome. That'll hurt him. Ooh, but see, this guy's got so much more biggins now. We will remain carefully hidden then for the moment. Alright, let's end another turn. We're kinda in a super awkward situation because I just need, all I need is for one of those armies to move. If I can even get one of those armies to fall back, then we'll be in a position to really put them to the torch. There we go. Hey, big girl. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to... this guy's going to be able to do more damage as an assaulter than he is as a hero. So seeing as the garrison has the larger army, or... oh, but he's going to be less successful at that, isn't he? Alright, he'll do more damage to this. So let's do that. Awesome. He's successful. So let's take a point into Specialist. And that will wound this army. Didn't really seem to do much, but it's enough. And then Nakai is going to charge the city. Which is ugly, but it is what it is. Oh, okay, see, he tore a unit of biggins down to size. I think we got this, though. So, let's go ahead and do a quick save. We'll hop into battle, and win or lose, this will be the last thing we do for the day. The good news, though, is even if somehow we do lose this engagement, the pursuing army is not that strong. I guess I should have had him attack the garrison. He didn't do as much as I was hoping. We do have a very formidable force, though. And, of course, these Sacred Kroxigors are like the ultimate counter to Savage Orcs because they do magic damage. So Savage Orcs literally have 0 defense against it. And what we're going to do is we'll send Skinks in front. We'll intermix our Saurus so they can spread out to where they need to. And then we've got our Kroxigors behind that. Nakai behind that, because you don't really want him on the front lines. You want him to get the charge, not to be charged. Do that, and we'll just send everybody forward. Okay, so they've split up their forces pretty much by troop type. So we will counter this. We'll send Spearsaurus. Let's send 2 units like that. 1 unit like this. We'll put skirmishers there. Skirmishers here. Regular Saurus we will send to this bridge that we're going to fight across. And we're going to also send our Kroxigors to this bridge. Because infantry is much easier for Kroxigors to plow through. Alright, everybody is on the way. We're going to make sure our Skinks do not run when charged. Just because we should have the advantage in some of these circumstances. We might start taking some early archer fire based on these positions. No, we're okay. As long as they don't move up, which the AI probably won't just yet. Alright, but everybody's moving into position. It's fantastic. We've got our Skink Priest closer to this flank because his Wind Blast will be very, very useful dealing with the Savage Orcs. Looks like the Errors might move up. They're thinking about it. They're rearranging. Kroxigors are out of range. Okay, the Saurus will be the ones to walk into range, but that's fine. They can take it. Alright, looks like he is redistributing his forces a little bit. But that's okay. I still want to go mostly spears on this flank. Hand weapons on this flank. Alright, in comes a Gaze of Mork against Saurus. It's a strong spell, but it's better against characters, so they'll be okay. Alright, so we are ready to advance. So let's begin. Kroxigors forward. So we'll wait until the Savage Orcs get nice and bunched up. Alright, Croc scores. Let's get them. Okay, we can go ahead and do a nice fat wind blast down this line right before the Croc scores impact. And we will pop this, which will give us all physical resistance. Have our javelins focus the piggies. And we can throw a Curse of the Midnight Wind over here to help out our Saurus. Unfortunately, we do need to get our Skink Priest a little closer to the front line so that we can actually use the Plaque of Dominion. Alright, the Orcs are feeling it. Alright, we are now in range, so we can pop this, and this will lower the leadership of a lot of these units. Tell our Saurus to keep being aggressive. Okay, we really want to focus the Biggins. The Biggins are the, of course, dangerous units. Okay, Skinks are out of ammo, so we're going to go ahead and swarm them in. And the Skinks will essentially be used if we can get away with it. They are much better off for chasing off fleeing units than they are for anything else. Nakai's a little isolated, so we're going to go ahead and pop down his ward save to give him some cover. And never mind, he just plowed his way back to us, being a boss that he is. Let's throw down another Curse of the Midnight Wind in the middle of this engagement. Skinks will have them hold in this forest because this will lower the stats of the Savage Orc Boar Boys while we send all these Spearosaurus to help out. Oh, perfect timing. Okay, so the Skinks will pursue, and we're just going to have the Spearosaurus just swarm these dudes. Alright, great. Things are going well. Let's get the Skink Priest closer to the front line. Let's have the Saurus pursue after the archers. Croc scores, go with them. Go with them. Charge, 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 charge. Use that anti-infantry bonus. Alright, we're gonna break away most of our pop the Plaque of Dominion. I'm gonna go after the general, see if I can get rid of him. These cav units are the really, really nasty problem causers. Skinks, pursue! Pursue! Put that superior speed to use, lads. Go ahead and pop this. Make all of our lads really, really angry so they fight their best. We do have a Wind Blast. I don't really see a place for it. Oh, you know what? I do see a place for it. We want to make sure we angle it so it doesn't hurt our own Skinks. Woof! Nice. Let's send him over to support. Alright, and that's victory for us. Awesome. So we've dealt our first blow to the Savage Orcs. The Blue Serpent tribe. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I'm pretty sure I went way over time on this first video, but that's going to be a great stopping point for now. Blue Vipers. Sorry, not Blue Serpents. So we've dealt the Blue Vipers a massive blow. Of course, this was their smallest army. They've got 2 borderline 20 stacks that are going to want to fight us. But this does give us a really good position to fight them, because this is territory they're going to want to fight us for. And the good news is that now we've got friends here. So now there is a full Lizardman garrison with Stegodons and Temple Guard and all sorts of other nastiness that's going to be here to help us hold the line. And we're going to fight side by side with them. So to end it, we'll go ahead and... do I want to pick up a Brave Spawning Chamber? Yeah, I think so. I'm not really feeling any of this other stuff, and I really want to get to Sacred Croxagors. So we will pick that up and maybe recruit like another 2 units of regular Skinks. Actually, you know what? Maybe... Yeah, God, those Croxagors are still disgustingly expensive. Considering that this campaign is supposed to kind of be about them, that's still very expensive upkeep for a horde, unfortunately. So I guess we'll get javelins, just because they provide a little bit better value than regular skinks. But we're doing pretty good. Our empire is a reasonable size. We're getting reasonable funds in right now. If we can, the most important thing we could successfully do is probably defeat the army at the Temple of Kara. If we manage to bring them down and isolate the orcs to Spectazuma, then we'll be in probably the best position we possibly could be. But that'll be enough for today's episode. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys. This will come out on Friday the... Oh, it's Friday the 13th. Ooh, yikes. Should have done a Skaven campaign. But anyway, this will come out on Friday, and I will see you guys on Saturday for the next one. Thank you all for watching. Catch you next time.